All right, so we're diving into disagreements today. Sounds like our listener wants to be like a disagreement ninja, not in a winning is everything way, but in a way that brings people together.
Right. Finding those solutions, keeping things calm. I like it. There's this really cool shift happening, from just trying to avoid disagreements altogether to like leaning in and figuring
Wow.
out how to make them, well, not terrible.
Totally. I mean, let's face it, disagreements, they're going to happen. It's how we handle them that makes all the difference. And the first tip is so simple, yet so hard. Really listening, like truly listening before you even think about what you're going to say back.
It's way harder than it sounds, especially when you're upset.
Mm.
But think about it. When someone truly listens to you, doesn't interrupt, really tries to get where you're coming from, how does that make you feel?
Heard and respected.
Exactly. And that builds trust,
Right.
right? It shows they respect you enough to hear you out, even if they disagree.
Right, right. It's like you're acknowledging the validity of their feelings, even if you don't agree with their perspective. And that's huge, because who wants to feel dismissed? I know I'm guilty of sometimes waiting for my turn to speak instead of really truly listening and trying to
I
understand.
all do it. It's human
Yeah.
nature, right? Especially when emotions are running high, we jump into defense mode. But that's where tip number 2 comes in, keeping your cool. Nobody likes a drama llama.
Oh, for sure. And I noticed this source makes a point of saying staying calm is different from suppressing your emotions. How so?
It's a great question. Think of it this way. Suppressing your emotions is like shoving all your laundry in a closet and slamming the door shut. It's still there, just hidden, and probably getting smellier. Staying calm, on the other hand, is like neatly folding and putting away your clothes. You acknowledge the feelings. Okay, anger, I see you, but you don't let them run wild.
So it's more about being aware of your emotions, not pretending they don't exist.
Exactly.
Which makes sense because, let's be honest, when we're fuming, we're not exactly thinking clearly or making the most rational decisions, are we?
Not at all. Anger, frustration, those kinds of emotions, they flood your brain with stress hormones. Your body goes into that primal fight or flight mode.
It's like your brain thinks there's a tiger in the room when really it's just a disagreement about whose turn it is to do the dishes.
Right. Your body thinks there's a real threat when it's really not that deep.
Exactly. So we're listening, we're keeping our cool. What's next?
Finding common ground, which brings us to tip number 3. This is where we shift our focus from winning the argument to working together to find a solution that works for everyone.
I remember you mentioning earlier wanting solutions, not battles, right? That's how you get there. But how do you find that common ground, especially when, you're both seeing red?
It's about looking for even the smallest point of agreement. Maybe it's we both want what's best for the kids, or even just we agree this situation isn't ideal. Anything to remind yourselves that you're on the same team trying to solve a problem together.
Instead of being stuck in opposite trenches, which never ends well. So tip number 4 is something I think we can all relate to. Leave the past in the past, unless it's really relevant. I feel like we all know that one person. But seriously, why is bringing up old grievances so damaging to a relationship?
Imagine this.
Yeah.
You're trying to have a conversation with someone, and every few minutes, they whip out this list of all your past mistakes and use it against you to shut down whatever you're saying. How would that make you feel?
Like I'm being judged for who I was, not for who I am now, and not heard at all.
Exactly. It creates this atmosphere of resentment and distrust, and you can't move forward from that. It's impossible to have a productive conversation when you're constantly rehashing old wounds. Now, it's really important to distinguish between addressing patterns of behavior, which is absolutely crucial for growth, and just weaponizing past arguments. One is about understanding and progress. The other is just plain hurtful.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. Okay, last but not least, tip number 5, humor. This one feels like a bit of a tightrope walk, doesn't it?
It totally is. Humor can be a fantastic tool to lighten the mood, but it's all about being sensitive and discerning. Sometimes a little self-deprecating humor can work wonders, if that's your style. But humor that belittles your partner or minimizes the issue at hand, hard no.
When in doubt, proceed with caution. I like it. All right, so to recap, really listening, staying calm, finding common ground, leaving the past in the past, and using humor carefully. These are fantastic tools for any disagreement toolkit. What resonates most with you?
These are all fantastic starting points, but it's important to remember that relationships are like fingerprints. Each one is unique. So as you start applying these strategies, pay attention to your own communication style and how it impacts your disagreements. That kind of self-awareness can be a game changer.
So true. It's about figuring out what works for you, for your relationship, for the specific situation.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. Thanks for joining me. Until next time.